ते सातपुते सर म्हणे की तुम्ही ऑपरेट कराल म्हणे, मी पीपीटी पाठवून देईन म्हणे तुम्हाला.
चालते ना, करता येते, काही प्रॉब्लेम.
हा हा, त्यांना म्हटलं काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही, म्हटलं सांग पाठवून द्याल.
स्पॉटलाइट करून ठेवायचा त्यांना आणि पॉवर पॉईंट चालवायचा आपोआप. करू शकतो आपण सुरू, लाईव्ह स्ट्रीमिंग केलं.
येस सर.
करता येईल सुरू. कॅमेरा स्विच ऑन करा फक्त तुम्ही दोघे जण तुमचे.
सर आवाज येतो का?
हो सर, आवाज येतोय.
येतोय सर. शाल वी स्टार्ट
हो
की
करा सुरू.
थांबायचंय? Good evening to all. We are gathered here for another fruitful lectures organized by lecture series Success Mantra on the memory of Dr. M.A. Dhore, Consortium of Botany Students for Botany Students. It is an initiative taken by the Innovative Pedagogy Development Center of Shivaji Science Shivaji Education Society Amravati, Shri Shivaji Science College, Shivaji Nagar, Amravati. Today, we give the essential on the unit number 1 and point is 1.4 essential elements for the plant growth and mechanism of nutrient uptake. Today's guest speaker is Dr. Shrikant Patil. It's my great pleasure I introduce dynamic personality Dr. Shrikant Patil sir is assistant professor Department of Botany Institute Adarsh Science JB Arts and Birla Commerce Mahavidyalaya Dhamangaon Railway. He has completed MSc Botany, MSc Biotechnology, B.Ed, and he has qualified CSIR NET in Botany and got PhD in Botany. His specialization is molecular biology, plant pathology, ecology, graphic designing. He has teaching experience, 10 years teaching experience for undergraduate level. The research contribution of Sir is a published paper in a national and international journals, publish books, contribute to circular development of SGBA NEP 2020. He has participated in many workshops as a resource person. He has worked administrative roles as a NSS program officer, member of different administrative student-centric committees. He is a member of Life Member Amravati Garden Clubs. So this is a brief introduction to today's guest speaker. I hope all of you enjoying these today's lectures. I hand over the session to Dr. Shrikant Patil sir. I request him, please start the session, sir. And I thanks Sri Shivaji Science College, Amravati, Dr. Khedkar sir, Dr. Mangesh
Thank you.
Dakwal sir, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chavan sir. Thank you very much. As Dr. Vinod Chavan sir said, we are gathered here on the occasion of Success Mantra. It is a, I think it is, am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. With kind permission of organizers, I would like to start with my presentation on essential. Myself, Shrikant Patil. I'm from Department of Botany, Adarsha Mahavidyalaya, Dhamangaon. My dear students, do you know that we all taste our food with our tongue? and same plants does like this. They can taste the nutrient that are available in the soil. They also can sense all of these things. Plants can taste nutrients in the soil, just like human have taste bud on tongue. Hello.
श्रीकांत नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लेम आहे
शेअरिंग
का?
बंद झालं.
शेअरिंग बंद झालाय.
Okay. Is it okay, ma'am, now?
हो हो.
जमलं.
So the plant also have beneath our feet. Do you know, my dear student, do you know that plants can steal nutrients from their neighbors also? We are plants, the carnivorous plants, Venus flytraps, they don't just hunt for fun. They evolve meat-eating habits because their native soils lacked parasitic plant-earned minerals. You can see in the image that these are the carnivorous plant have a digestive sap-like things and a fly is trapped or moth kind of thing trapped inside the digestive juice. So these plants absorb nutrients from this
श्रीकांत
particular
थोडस
creature
नेटवर्क चेक कर.
and fulfill
दुसरा
their
मोबाईल आहे का
demand. So these are the fun facts.
श्रीकांत
श्रीकांत?
श्रीकांत
दुसरा मोबाईल असेल तर दुसऱ्या मोबाईलवरून नेटवर्क कर, सिम चेंज कर नेटवर्कचं.
व्हॉइस क्रॅक होतोय.
म्यूट आहेस तू.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
नेटवर्क चेक करेगा.
हो, आवाज येतोय तुमचा, फक्त एकदा नेटवर्क पाहून घ्या.
Is it visible, sir, now?
हा, आता आवाजही बऱ्यापैकी क्लिअर येतो. Sorry,
Plants
continue.
also have hidden internet for nutrient trading. Deep underground, 90% of the plants are connected to a vast fungal network called mycorrhizal web, dubbed the wood wide web, where they secretly trade nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen in exchange of sugars. Some aggressive species even hack the system, stealing resources from neighboring plants by manipulating fungal connections. This black market nutrient exchange determines which plants thrive and which get screamed out of the survival. So all of you might have seen farmers are using fertilizers in the field to nourish the crop to get better yield. Most of you people are from farmer background, I know, and your parents or your family members are using fertilizers in the field also. These fertilizers contain essential nutrients. They are very important for the normal growth and development and high yield of the crop. Today's session is also focusing on this particular concept that whatever nutrition in the form of essential nutrients present in the soils are very important for the plant's survival, plant growth, and nutrition. So these essential nutrients are very important, become very important. Study of the nutrition is also very become important as far as the plants are concerned, as well as the students which are belongs to the botany are concerned. So let's begin with the overview. There are 16 essential elements required for the plant life. Predominantly, they are present in the soil. Three nutrients, that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, are very basic nutrients. But primary micronutrients are there, comes under the category of primary micronutrients. Three nutrients are there. NPK. We all might have heard these names many times, or I am sure that we all are familiar with the name. That is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These are the macronutrients. Another category of macronutrients are secondary macronutrients. That is calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. There are some micronutrients are also there, like ferrous, magnesium, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, and chlorine. So these 16 nutrients are essential elements required for the plant life. Now, what are essential elements? Essential elements are those substances like minerals and nutrients that are necessary for proper growth, development, and overall health of living organism. They are especially required for various metabolic process and cannot be substituted by other elements. This is very important statements, that they cannot be substituted by other elements. Means if you want to substitute these elements with other substitutes, then that cannot fulfill the need of the reaction or the need of the situation. That's why they are called as essential. And the criteria which elements should come in the category of essential things or non-essential thing is widely studied by two scientists, that is Arnon and Stout. We are going to focus on that particular thing in our next slide. Now, before going to that thing, let's focus on one thing, that nitrogen is one of the most important essential nutrient that is required for the plant. And nitrogen is a part of macronutrient. What is micronutrient and macronutrient, that also we are going to focus in our upcoming slide. But before going through that thing, I would like to highlight one more thing, that nitrogen is part of very important essential nutrient, and this particular nitrogen is important for vegetative growth, protein synthesis, enzyme work, nucleic acid biosynthesis, and leaf senescence. So these are vital events that occur in the life of plants, and nitrogen plays very crucial role. That's why it comes under the category of essential nutrients. So according to the Arnon and Stout criteria, they have found by doing extensive research on the plants that whenever necessary of the plant, these particular nutrients necessary for completion of life cycle, the elements must be required for the plant to complete its vegetative and reproductive stages, producing viable seeds. First question always should come into the mind of the student, that why they are called as essential. I am also focusing particularly on this event, that essential means what. So Arnon and Stout set up a criteria that if a element is fulfilling these three necessary steps or criteria, then that element must come under the category of essential nutrient. So first criteria is the necessity of completion of life cycle. If that element is very much necessary for completion of life cycle, that must consider as essential. That if the element is showing irreplaceability, means that element cannot be replaced by other element, cannot be substituted by other element, that is also comes under the essential category. And that element have direct involvement in the metabolism. This by any element, that means that particular element is under the category of essential. So this slide mainly focus on the events and the type of nutrients that plants are going to absorb from the soil. See, the plants absorb carbon dioxide from the environment, as we all know. It is in the form of gaseous thing. It releases oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. It also releases water vapors or water in the form of water vapors during the process of transpiration. But at the same time, simultaneously, it absorbs water from the roots also. Such uh, such absorption is very huge. And for the normal growth and development of the plant, the water absorption plays very important role. With the water which is solubilized in the soil in the form of capillary water, or you can say in the form of water solution, that particular event is very crucial for the absorption of nutrition from the soil. So plant roots are the main part of the plant that not only perform the process of anchoring, but also perform the process of absorption of essential nutrients from the soil. So these nutrients are primary nutrients that I already quoted in my previous slide, that NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And the secondary nutrients are the calcium, magnesium, and sulfurs, and the micronutrients which are required in very negligible amount, but still they are very important, that are ferrous, magnesium, zinc, copper, molybdenum, boron, and chlorine. So all these nutrients are absorbed from the soil by the roots of the plant. So to understand this mechanism, we must understand the structure of root first, and we must understand the anatomy of roots, and then the mechanism of the absorption process. Here, the classification of essential elements are as follows. They are based on quantity. Which elements comes under the macronutrient and which element comes under the micronutrient. There is a proper definition or proper criteria is there. What are macronutrients? Then macronutrients are those which are required in large quantity. And what are micronutrients? They are required in very negligible quantity. But if we goes deep inside the definition, then we can say that nutrients required by the plant in large quantity, that means more than 1 milligram per gram of dry matter of the plant, that are called as macronutrients. And the nutrients which are required by the plant in very small quantity, that is less than 1 milligram per gram of dry matter, is also called as micronutrients. So NPK, please remember, my dear students, they are the macronutrients that are comes under the primary macronutrients, and the secondary macronutrients, they are comes under the category that are calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, and these are the micronutrients. These are the micronutrients, that is ferrous, magnesium, zinc, cobalt, boron, molybdenum, and chlorine. The question might ask on these particular names, so you should remember the category wise distribution of the macro and micronutrient. Let me repeat again for the students that nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, calcium, and magnesium, they are macronutrient, means they require more than 1 milligram of dry weight of matters, and micronutrients, ferrous, magnesium, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum, and chlorine, they are micronutrients that require very less than 1 milligram of dry matter. So what are the function of these elements? These macro and micronutrients are required for the development of structural elements of the plants. They are enzyme activators. They are important for the maintenance of osmotic balance, which is very important physical process as far as the plant osmoregulation is concerned. and they are important for electron transport. For example, plant is willing to develop a protein, or plant is undergoing through the process of protein synthesis, then that must require nitrogen. If plant undergoing the cell division, means it is having a very actively dividing DNA, it must have phosphates or phosphorus. Or if a plant is performing the regular activity, that is opening and closing of stomata, then it must require the potassium kind of ions. So NPK is a part of macronutrient, and these are very important in plants. Some of them are enzyme activators. For example, magnesium. 90% of the enzyme present in the living system are having cofactor in the form of magnesium. Many ions are required for the maintenance of osmotic balance of the plant cell, and we all know that electron transport system. So these are the important functions of essential elements. I would like to repeat for the student once again, what are essential elements? Essential elements are those elements which are required for normal growth and development of the plants, and they cannot be replaced by other elements. So their existence is very important. Their presence is very important for the survival and growth, development, and reproduction of plant. Now, what if the plant is having deficiency of the nutrient? Question should come into your mind, that if the plant having deficiency of macronutrient, or if the plant having deficiency means in Marathi it is called as kamtarta. So what kind of things, or what affects, what kind of effect that shown on the plant itself? So let's try to understand these things. My dear student, one more thing that I would like to share with you people, that this particular topic might look very simple, but as far as the competitive exams are concerned, as far as the net set kind of exams are concerned, these are very common questions asked in this exam, on the basis of symptoms, on the basis of criteria, on the basis of distribution, on the basis of absorption of the micro and macronutrient. So I am requesting all of you that please concentrate on this particular topic in this slide, that if a plant is suffering from deficiency of this nutrient, what kind of symptoms or what kind of changes that occur in the body of the plant. So let's start with the ferrous. If the plant is suffering from the deficiency of the ferrous, the symptom that first arrive at the younger part of the plant, that young leaves become yellowish, and the veins of the leaf become green. These are the primary symptoms that directly point out toward the deficiency of ferrous, that plants is not getting enough ferrous from the soil, or the soil is don't it's not having that much ferrous to fulfill the demand of the plant. That is called as deficiency. If the plant having calcium deficiency, then plant have stunted growth. Stunted growth means plant is not growing properly, and misshapen new leaves. जो नए लीव्स बनेंगे उनका शेप अलग तरह से होगा, वो नॉर्मल शेप नहीं होगा. That pointing towards the deficiency of calcium. If the plant showing the light green upper leaves, yellow and shriveled leaves, that pointing towards, that means the plant having nitrogen deficiency. If the plant having yellowish at the edges and tips with dead spots and yellow patches, that means it is having the potassium deficiency. If the white deposits and stunted growth, it must have carbon dioxide deficiency. Then if the plant have yellow spots and elongated holes on the leaves, it must have the manganese deficiency. If the plant's leaves are darker than usual, means we all know that plant leaves are green in color. It is very common thing. But plant leaves are very darker in color as compared to the neighboring leaves or some other leaves or other neighboring plants. It must have phosphate deficiency. If the plant leaves are turning yellow from outside, then it must have magnesium deficiency. If the plants having light or pale green leaves, it means it must have the sulfur deficiency. And the plants which are having pale narrow leaves, short and darker veins, it must have zinc deficiency. That's why whenever the uh, farmers decide to use fertilizers, they always uh, they always choose a combination of fertilizers like NPK along with their advice to have substituted sprays of micronutrient also. So the whatever symptoms are there on the plant can be eliminated and normal growth and development is restored. So these are the symptoms that are very important uh, for our farmers or we people as a student of botany, that we must understand these symptoms so we could understand the plant's growth and whatever kind of deficiency is there, so we can fulfill that demand of the plant and restore the growth and development. I intentionally place this slide to understand the morphology of the plant leaf if it is having iron and magnesium deficiency. See at your slide that plants veins are green in color, but rest of the area is yellowish color. Such kind of symptoms are called as necrotic symptoms, or a plant is suffering from necrosis. Necrosis means what? In plant, it is characterized by yellowing of leaf, often with the veins remaining blue due to lack of chlorophyll. So if a necrosis is happening in the plant, you are observing with your naked eyes, it means it is iron deficiency. Now, let's jump to the important slide of the presentation, one of the most important slide of the presentation, that is mechanism of nutrient uptake and nutrient uptake. So question should came into your mind again that whatever the nutrients that are present in the soil must be absorbed by the plant. And I told you in my earlier slides that nutrients that are absorbed by the plants predominantly perform by the roots. So roots not only do anchorage or support to the plant, but also it plays very important role in the absorption of water as well as nutrients from the soil. But if you observe very closely, that whole root does not perform this function. Only some part of root, that is zone of root hairs, that perform this particular function of absorption of nutrients from the soil. So let's try to understand how the roots absorb nutrients from the soil. And my dear students, I am telling you again, the, in competitive exams, 90% of the papers, you can find the question on this particular topic, that how the roots absorb nutrition from the soil. In general, let's start with the transpiration process. Plant loses water. Concentrate on A part of the slide, that plants loses water in the form of water vapor. That process is called as transpiration. Due to the transpiration, the aerial part of the plant loses water very quickly, and as they loses water very quickly, they require water there. And as they require water, transpiration pool is developed, and that pull, that pressure is exerted on the roots. So root ultimately absorb water from the soil, and with water they also absorb the nutrients. So transpiration is a necessary evil that plant must loses water in the form of water vapor, so it becomes very easy for the plant to absorb nutrition along with the water through the roots. Now the roots absorb water with two main paths, with two main physical process. Please remember. Please listen carefully. Am I audible to you, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, yes, yes. It's audible.
Okay. Any reply from students? Am I audible to
Students,
you? Okay, fine. So there are two important physical processes are there which are important for the absorption of nutrition from the soil along with water. First is the passive absorption and second is the active absorption. Please be remember passive absorption and active absorption. If the plant is performing passive absorption, what does it mean? It means that it does not require any energy for the plants. It is a direct physical process. But if plants are absorbing nutrient, that comes under the category of active absorption. So these are the two main types through which plant absorb the nutrition. And we must understand the mechanism of nutrient uptake in terms of these two types. Now let's start with the passive absorption. Passive absorption is a kind of absorption of nutrients by the plant which does not require any kind of energy. It is having some subtypes like it absorbs the nutrients like with the process of diffusion and ion exchange is also absorbed with the help of mass flow, or it also absorbed with the help of facilitated diffusion. Let me tell you one thing, that what is meant by diffusion. Concentrate on C part of the slide, third part. If you take a look at the root hair structure from inside and outside, root hairs are having a boundary with the help of cell wall followed by the plasma membrane. It is a single structure, single cell structure most of the time, elongated cells. And the plasma membrane, as we all know, that is semi-permeable membrane. And diffusion process occurs through the plasma membrane with the help of a simple phenomenon that the nutrients particles that move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. It is called as simple diffusion, nothing more than that. But if you take a look at the facilitated diffusion, then the plasma membrane, that is only a boundary that is present in between the outer environment and the plant cells or root hairs. That plasma membrane have some kind of carrier proteins. That protein provide facility for the process of diffusion of ion, and through that particular ion, the nutrients that are present in the soil, they are transported inside the root. So what is the difference between simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion? Simple diffusion occurs directly through the plasma membrane against the concentration gradient, towards the concentration gradient. And facilitated diffusion is a type of simple diffusion, but difference is that there is presence of a channel, a protein, a gate, a door, a window through which it is compulsory for the nutrients to pass through it. So these are the two physical processes, does not require any energy. That's why it comes under the category of passive absorption. Another interesting phenomenon, that is mass flow. Mass flow of nutrients occur directly during the process of water absorption. When we water the soil, or naturally soil acquires water through rain or whatever it may be type, the whatever water is absorbed by the soil, it get converted into soil solution, and nutrients that are present in the soil get mixed with the water and becomes the part of soil solution. This water directly absorbed by the roots, and that water which contain nutrients are directly take entry inside the root. Such thing is called as mass flow. What is the advantage of mass flow of nutrient uptake? That bunch of or major portion of the nutrient directly absorbed with the help of water. My dear student, let me tell you once again that with the help of diffusion, with the help of simple diffusion, with the help of facilitated diffusion, or with the help of mass flow, energy does not require for the plant to absorb nutrients from the soil. That's why it is a type of passive absorption. Now let's discuss about the active absorption. Active absorption is that kind of absorption which requires ATP. This particular absorption always perform against the concentration gradient. For example, plant have to absorb more and more nutrition, or plants have sometime special scene or a special event is created or environment is created, that plant must absorb nutrition against the concentration gradient as compared to the soil. Then it must invest some energy in the form of ATP. So there is a presence of some carrier protein, as you can see the slide in D part of the slide, fourth part of the slide, that the plant's plasma membrane or root cell or root hair plasma membrane have a special kind of transporters, and that transporter perform the process of transport of nutrients in the expense of energy, that is ATP is converted to ADP, and energy that is released is utilized to transport nutrition which is present in the soil outside the environment, to grab or to pull that nutrient inside the root of the plant. So such kind of thing is called as active transport, and special carrier proteins are there which are present on the surface of the plasma membrane of root hair that perform these things, and it involves ATP. So it is a energy dependent transport. Plant must use ATP for this particular thing. When the plant perform mineral uptake, most of the time active absorption is carried out, and during the process of absorption of passive or active, symport and antiport systems that are very common. For example, directly ions are taken inside in one direction, that are called as importer. If the ions are exchanged in reverse direction, they are called as antiporters. You can see in the diagram part C. So this is very important slide, and this is very important event that occur during the process of absorption of nutrient uptake. And you must remember the process of absorption of the nutrients. So if you come across any difficulty, you can please feel free to ask me. Now, let's imagine that the nutrients are absorbed from the soil, but how they travel towards the xylem and phloem, because the root also have well developed xylem and phloem system, and that xylem and phloem system grab that nutrients from the roots, absorb, and they have to transport that nutrients from root to the stem, from stem to the leaves and fruits, flower, where it is required. But from outside, from the soil, how it travels up to the xylem, that also a part of discussion. In the part B of the slide, just go through the transfer section of the root. There are two main pathways that have extensively studied for the transport of the transport of the solution from outside towards the xylem of the root. The first path is called as symplastic pathway, and another pathway is called as apoplastic pathway. The symplastic pathway, that is very common pathway, or you can say performed by the cells with the help of a special type of cytoplasmic connections called as plasmodesmata. And the apoplastic pathway, in general, you can understand or consider that is carried out through the intercellular spaces that are present in the root. So the journey starts with root hair, then it comes to the epidermis. It is green in color, as you can see in the presentation, part B. After that, it reaches to the cortical region of the cell, and then it reaches to the endodermis, channel through the passage cell. As we all know that endodermis are having a Siberian deposit, Casparian strips, and then it travels to the pericycle and stele system, that is xylem and phloem of the plant root. So this is the path. This is the real path through which the nutrient along with water travels from the soil to the xylem and phloem of the root. Let me discuss you again with you again that it start with root hair, then passes the epidermis, then cortex, followed by endodermis, pericycle, and xylem. So with this process, the actual nutritions are traveled. Now let's revise mass flow. The soil solution is there, dissolve nutrients in the water. This water is absorbed by the roots, and the root hairs transport that water towards the xylem of the roots, and xylem will transport that water toward the other part of the aerial part of the root. So this particular illustration easily explains the mass flow of the nutrients. Now let's focus on the factors. We have discussed about the absorption of nutrients, type of nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients. But there are certain things that affects the absorption of nutrients. This is also important points. There are some factors that affect the nutrient uptake. The first factor is pH. What is pH? pH is a kind of ions concentration present in the soil. And my dear student, always remember that pH is one of the most important factors that affect the nutrient uptake. Slight fluctuation in the pH, plant can withstand on this particular thing. But the pH of the soil is fluctuating enormously. That directly affect the absorption. In general words, if the pH is not optimum, if the pH of the soil is not optimum, then whatever nutrients that are present in the soil cannot be absorbed by the plant. So the soil pH is very crucial, along with temperature, soil moisture, and root health. Temperature should be optimum. Soil moisture should be there. For example, if you are putting so many nutrients in the soil and there is no moisture and water in the soil, then root cannot absorb that nutrients. It is waste of time, waste of money, and waste of energy. And overall root health is very important. If the roots are infected with the fungus, infected with the bacteria or nematode, whatever, or if they are injured, that roots are also cannot perform the process of nutrient uptake. So these 4 points are very, very important factors that affect the nutrient uptake. Let's try to understand with the help of graph. The optimum pH on which the plant root absorb nutrients very actively, that is slightly acidic pH, 6.5. On this particular pH, plant absorb the nutrients very efficiently. If you take a look at the graph, as the pH increases, the absorption of nutrients also increases up to some extent only. When it reaches to pH 6.5 or something like that, it is at the peak, that is absorption of nutrients at the peak. If the soil pH increasing again after 6.5 or 7, then there is a sudden fall in the process of nutrient absorption. So the graph is like this. It is hill-shaped graph. So optimum pH is very important, that is slightly acidic. It is a comparative graph scenario. That temperature, again, as the temperature of the soil or temperature of the environment increases from 0, the absorption ability or the rate of absorption also increases. The same is the pH and same is the soil moisture. The graph of soil moisture is little bit different. As the soil moisture increases, the absorption also increases, but to some extent only. If you increase the soil moisture or water content of the soil, then the absorption remains stationary. And if you increase again and again the water content of the soil, then it is considered as a flooded situation by the plant root. Then the absorption of nutrients decline very sharply. Please remember these events. Advanced discovery, or according to the recent studies, it has been found that there are special kind of channels like aquaporins. They are present on the plasma membrane of root hairs. That aquaporins absorb water and along with water, they also absorb nutrient from the soil. This is the advanced things. If you improve such kind of aquaporin channel on the surface of the root, then you can also increase the nutrient uptake. It is a matter of study. Let's quickly remind all the things that plants require essential element for optimal growth and development and productivity. The plant nutrients are of two types, macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Micronutrients like iron, zinc, and copper. They absorb by the plant root with the help of passive and active absorption. Uh, uh, there are factors like soil pH, temperature, soil moisture, and overall root health affect significantly nutrient uptake. And it is important for of balanced nutrition for sustainable agriculture. So a well-balanced nutrient supply ensures higher crop yield, better resistance to the pest and diseases, and improve soil health. Over fertilization or nutrients imbalance can lead to the soil degradation, environmental pollution, and poor crop quality. Adopting integrated nutrient management practices combining organic and inorganic sources is a key sustainable farming and global food security. So, my dear students and other participants, it becomes very important to test the soil where we are planting our plants or crops. If you know the overall health condition of the soil, organic content of the soil, nutrient content of the soil, so you can choose wisely whatever crop that you are going to take for the yield. If you have better understanding to the soil nutrients, then you can have a better yield of the crop. So that's it from my side. This is my presentation. Healthy soils and balanced nutrition today are the foundation of abundant harvest for tomorrow. So with this, I am very thankful for the organizers that given me a very nice opportunity to discuss about the nutrients, plant nutrients and other things, which was very important topic and point not only for the university examination but also for the preparation of competitive exams also. So I hope students and other participants enjoy these lectures, enjoy this interaction, and let's meet whenever we get chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shrikant sir. Dear student, we have just been enlightened by insightful presentation on essential element for growth and mechanism of nutrient uptake. I ask student if they have any queries, they can ask. If anyone want to ask any question. I think nobody is there. Thank you so much. We have just enlightened by the topic essential element for the plant growth and mechanism of nutrient uptake by Dr. Shrikant Patil. I express heartfelt thanks to Patil sir for his comprehensive explanation and engaging delivery of crucial role that essential element play in the plant growth. I really appreciate the efforts of Dr. Patil put into making the complex concept accessible to all of us. His presentation was very simple but informative. Once again, I'm thankful to Dr. Patil. I'm thankful to all who takes effort to successfully delivering all these lectures. I'm thankful to the today's coordinator, Dr. Chauhan sir. I'm again thankful to all teachers who attend the lecture. Not the least, but my dear student, I'm thankful to all of you who have attained all these lecture series for their upgradement. I think here we can conclude this lecture for today. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Student, you can leave
Thank you,
this
ma'am. Thank you so
lecture.
much.
चलो श्रीकांत, बढ़िया
Thank you, sir.
बढ़िया।